Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, thank you so very much for stopping by. It means a lot to me. Today I'm going to do a mini color along from the Hanna Karlzon book Seasons. Peekaboo. Anyway, so on this page I started coloring it. It's got strawberries, butterflies, gemstones, and once again in the middle of the page I thought I should have rolled a video on this. So what I did was I stopped down to teach you guys how to color the strawberries from this page, and that's what you'll see coming up. So I'll just see you on the other side. All right, let's get started. So here we have a partially colored page I've been working on, and this is out of Hanna Karlzon's Seasons book. And once again, in the middle of this, I thought, you know what, I need to stop and probably do a little bit of a tutorial. Now, this will not be a color along for the entire page, but I wanted to share with you how I color these strawberries. And it's really super easy. And okay, with that, we'll just get into it. No hem-hawing around, Kim. All right, so the very first thing that I did was I grabbed my little mandala book to figure out which red color combo I wanted to use. And excuse me so much. I've got this, my handy dandy Prismacolor family chart. And you can see here, when you look at reds, you have red, orange, orange, red, red, and violet red, right? So when you think of a strawberry, I always think like the really juicy looking strawberries are like a bright to almost pinky red. So that's sort of where I started with my color combo. So what I did here was I created 4 different combos, sort of playing with the colors to figure out what did I want to use here on my page. And let me try to get this more in camera since it's at the bottom. So the first combo here I came up with, I grabbed magenta, raspberry, and mahogany red. So magenta I reached for because it's in the violet red family, and I keep thinking, gosh, those really juicy looking strawberries kind of have a more pink tone to them. At least in my mind they did. And so when I colored this one, I liked it, but it came across a little, first of all, a little too dark, but a little too cool on the red side. So a much cooler red because of that pink magenta right up here. So then I moved on to let's try to warm it up. Let's do something a little different. So with combo number 2, and what I'm doing is I'm recording my combos over here on the facing page so I can go back and remember what I colored. Because, you know, just because I might not choose it for my strawberries now, it might be a combo I want to use later, and I'll probably end up sticking it in my little, oh, this guy here. Y'all know it by now. My little combo coloring book or journal. Okay. So the second one here, to try to warm it up, I started out with permanent red. Now, permanent red is interesting to me because it can read as an orangey red or a pinky red, depending on which red it sits next to. So I like it. So I guess that makes it a good medium red. Excuse me. Again, early morning here. It's like maybe 7 a.m. So I started out with permanent red, then went to a scarlet lake, and then down to a crimson red, and then a mahogany red. So again, I'm using the mahogany red to sort of anchor, provide shadow or darkness on the strawberry. So this one wasn't bad, but it read a little too warm. I still felt like I was missing some of the pink undertones. So again, not bad, but closer to what I wanted. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. So the next thing I did here, combo 3, again, I thought, well, let me try to see if I can take something sort of like this and introduce some pink back into it. And I got permanent red, again with the magenta, which is what we started out with here. So we started out here with permanent red. There's magenta. Then I went to a crimson red and then a crimson lake. So that one's okay, but that pink sure looks weird sitting right there. So I thought, no, that's not quite right. And then I thought, okay, when I think about strawberries, there's always that one little section. You can see how I colored it here or down here. It might be like not quite ripe, and it always feels a little orangier. And then I wanted to try to get down to that side of the strawberry that looks like it's very ripe and very juicy, which to me is a little pinkier. So how do I do that? So this is actually a 6-color combo. I apologize in advance for those of you that are sort of hesitant on color combos. But I've got it here. I'll leave the combo in the description. So this is Pale Vermillion, which if we look over here, it's in the orange-red section. Okay, so I started out with Pale Vermillion, then I went to a Carmine Red. So now Carmine Red is going to cool off that orange immediately and bring it down, tone it down. Then to a Permanent Red, Crimson Lake. And then instead of anchoring it with the Mahogany over here, which feels a little more like a brownish red. So if we look at Mahogany, it's kind of a brick, even though it's in the violet red group. I chose something a little brighter with Pomegranate. And that, I felt like, gave it the violet pinky anchor that I was looking for in choosing this color. So here you could see I'm graduating from the orangey red, then I cool it off with the Carmine Red and head down into a violet red with the Pomegranate. And I think that, for me, was the winning combo to get me all the different tones and ranges of reds I wanted in my strawberry. So let's see how that actually works. Okay, so you can see here, I need a pointer pencil. So here what I'm actually going to do, and I will demonstrate this in just a minute, I'm going to color white and cream first on the strawberry. So I thought I'd start out with it sort of trying to be a highlight, but if you really look at a strawberry, a highlight, if you have bright light shining on it, it's actually white. It's very contrasty. So this is going to look more like an unripened spot. And it just so happens I'm putting that unripened spot in the same place, but no, don't worry about it. So I can't decide, is it a highlight or an unripened spot? So we'll just, excuse me, we'll just go with it. So here, so I'm going to start out with cream and white. And then I will color over that with the Pale Vermillion, and then start graduating my colors down this way with the Pomegranate in the shadows. And let me zoom in on that, guys. I'm sorry that I didn't do that yet. Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah, I think that's good. Sorry, little camera adjustment there. So we're starting out with the cream and the white, then lightly coloring the Pale Vermillion over that, and then blending it. And then here comes the Carmine Red, the Permanent Red, the Crimson Lake, and then the Pomegranate. And what I do at the very end is I will take that Permanent Red and color over all of it to sort of make it feel cohesive and brighten it up just a little bit. But that is my winning formula for my strawberries. And then on the seeds, I'm using lime peel and cream. The color combo for the leaves that I have, it is, and I'll leave this in the comment section too for you guys, or the description. It's Chartreuse, Apple Green, and Prussian Green. And you can see I just did just real simple, light to dark in the center, light to dark in the center. And then when it came to the strawberry leaves, I kept it the same colors. So again, I'm just going Chartreuse, Apple Green, Prussian Green here. And then on the stems, I'm just using Chartreuse and Prussian Green, sometimes Apple Green, just to mix it up. Okay, so there's that. The flowers are a combination of processed red, hot pink, and then pomegranate. And maybe I'll color a flower or two with you guys too while we're here. I do not yet know how I'm going to color the butterflies or the gemstones. I think the gemstones will either be some sort of variation of like this violet, more hot pink flower, or it will be like a maybe oh my gosh, ruby. Like make it color it like a ruby to match the strawberries. I'm not sure, which would make sense because it looks like it's part of the strawberry plant. So why wouldn't it be the same as the strawberries? But we'll see when I get there. And if I decide to do something really cool with the butterflies, I will roll a separate video on that. The bug down in the corner, I just kept it simple, yellow and black. And that yellow is oops, sunburst yellow. So I just did the stripes, this part, his eyes, and everything else is black, just to keep it simple. Sometimes when I go to color little bugs on these pages, I panic thinking they're supposed to be magical looking, and then I just sort of kind of fail or crap out on them. And, you know, so I don't know. Just do what you want. But that's where I'm at. So let me get my pencils ready, and I'll be right back, and we will start with this strawberry right here. I'll be right back. So I've got a whole handful of colors here. Hopefully I can keep them in the right order. I'm going to start with the white. I'll put a little white down. And let me see if I move this slide in, if that helps a little bit. I'm going to just color a little white. And it's hard to see this white on this ivory paper. Even though the paper is not white, it's still hard to see it a little bit. And then I'll put some cream over that. And then you will feel where this is when you start to lay down the pale vermilion. You'll be able to feel that you're, like when you're coloring paper, when you're coloring over pencil. So you'll feel it. All right, so there's those two. We'll come back to those in a little bit. So here's my pale vermilion. I'm going to start out, I'm not going to blend it in just yet. I'm going to start out just kind of going around it. And this first layer is just a little light. And then next comes the Carmine Red. Actually had to look up to make sure I'm actually recording, because I know sometimes I've gone off and thought I was recording and I wasn't. So whoops, but yes I am, yay. So the Carmine Red, we're just going to do that. So you can see I'm just going to take it like this at an angle. Okay, now the permanent red. So those two colors don't really take up a lot of the strawberry. The star of this strawberry is the permanent red, I think. And like I said, depending on which red it sits up against, it can read either like a cooler or warmer red. So we're putting it right between a cool red and I don't know. If Carmine Red feels cool to me. It's pinkier. And then like more of a regular darker red. Okay, so you can see how much we did with the permanent red. Quite a bit. Now the next one is crimson red. And then, I'm sorry, they're not quite short enough for me to stick it in a pencil holder just yet, so I apologize, and I hope my hand is not getting in the way. So, just putting this one down, blending it in just kind of lightly, taking it over the permanent red. Okay. Now we've got, and this is funny, so when you're looking at your pencils, the pomegranate looks lighter. So if I'm just looking at my pencils and not paying attention to the actual names, I might accidentally try to pick this up because it looks like it would be the next lighter one, but it actually colors a little darker than the Crimson Lake. So just be careful. Do as I say, not as I do, right? So here's the Crimson Lake, and you can see how that really starts to add that deep red tone to the page. Okay. And lastly, here is the pomegranate. And this is where I think the magic happens because it's so pretty. And you can see how it's pink. So if I just color it here by itself, how it's like a very purpley, pinky red. But it's dark and it's perfect for this edge for like a shadow, maybe. But definitely where I think the juiciest part of the strawberry is hanging out. Okay. And so this won't be a very long video today. Not that people just can't wait to log in and see long videos, but I try to give you a mixture of video lengths when I can. All right, let's see. So we're going back now. So I've colored, and when I did the pomegranate, I pushed down a little harder, you can see, to go ahead and start to burnish that edge a little bit, to get rid of some of the little white spots from the paper as much as I can. And now here comes the Crimson Lake. Yeah, Crimson Lake. Coming back over this. So with a process like this, this process is not going to lend itself towards finishing a page quickly. This is something where each strawberry is just colored with love, and it takes a little bit of time and patience. But with this process, you'll get a really beautiful looking strawberry. Okay, now I've got the crimson red next. I'm just putting that in here. Again, I hope my hand is staying out of the camera for y'all. The other thing too, when I put these pencils in their pencil holders, because I have these stickers at the bottom, they won't fit in the pencil holder unless I remove the sticker. And sometimes my pencils, this is worn off. And if I lose the sticker, then I figure I can't really read what pencil this is. So I try to hold out as long as I can. I'm sure there are lots of other ways I could do that. But I get lazy. And I'm a creature of habit. So, okay. So here's the crimson red. Y'all don't care about my habits. All right, let me pick up the next 3 colors. So next, going back this way, is the process red. So let's go ahead and start adding that back. And you can see I'm doing this kind of in 2 layers. Again, I'm breaking the Prisma rules. I'm sure Mags, Tam, if you're watching, I think my coloring might make you cringe a little bit. But if y'all haven't seen how Mags colors her pages, she adds a ton of layers, and it is absolutely stunning and gorgeous. And I think you would really love her style. So, and also, while I'm talking about it, if you enjoy Prismacolor, she's got a wonderful Facebook group, Crazy for Prismacolor Combinations with Mags Tam. So I will leave a link for that. Okay, Carmine Red. So this is the real pinky red. It doesn't look pinky here, but this is the one that's going to cool off that pale vermilion that we're going to go back to in just a minute here. But I hope that you are enjoying seeing how this red unfolds on this strawberry right now. All right, I'm going to add a little bit more there. Okay, get my little brush here. So now I'm going back in with the pale vermilion. And this part, guys, I'm doing super light right in here. Okay. And it goes on light anyway, because you're coloring over the cream and I keep saying ivory, the cream and the white. So there's already like a couple layers of wax put down on here from the pencils. So it makes it easy to do that. So now I'm going to take the cream and go in and blend it out. And then finish up with like a little white and blend that in here. All right, so there you get that part of the strawberry. So now I'm going to go back and I can see I've got like little white spaces poking through. So this is where at this point, guys, I'm so sorry. Let's see, I'm going to pick up my pomegranate and add a little shadow up here along the edges. Right up there maybe. Just a little bit. And then I'm going to take my permanent red, and this is where I was saying I go back over the entire strawberry. Not up here, but from here down with the permanent red. And try to get all those little white spaces out as much as I can. Now, you could also use a blender pencil or Gamsol. Whatever your blending tool of choice is, you can definitely use that. For me, I always try to blend with pencils as much as I can, but that's just how I was taught. And I know that in the past when I've had blender pencils that I've tried to use, they get scratchy, but I know they get scratchy because I don't have enough wax down from multiple layers of my whatever I'm coloring at the time. So, okay, so there's that. I think that's probably almost good enough. I'm going to add a little Carmine Red back in here to try to blend that out. Okay, so there you go. Now, one thing I want to do, I see a little bitty piece where I got red over that, so I'm just going to try to zap it with the corner ever so lightly. Okay, so now we'll do the seeds. And again, I'm doing the seeds with lime peel. Oh, nope, I picked up chartreuse. Whoops. Okay, lime peel. And then after I do the lime peel, I will go back over it with a little cream. And sometimes, oops, I guess I got too much red there. And this is a seed, but I think that's part of the flower. So we'll leave that there. Okay, so there's the lime peel. And then going back over it with a little bit of the cream. You know, it's funny because strawberry seeds, I always think of them in my head as being black seeds. But when you actually look at a strawberry, they're not. So there you go. All right, so the next thing I will do, I'm going to take my black pencil. And because I've already colored this area, I'm going to go ahead and add a little outline here just to preserve the line art. Again, this is a step that I do. It's real easy to overdo this, so just be gentle. But that adds that separation between the seed. It's real easy to color over, especially these little seed lines with your reds. So this kind of helps bring back those lines. Okay. I think that's, I probably didn't get all of them, but I think that's good enough. So now what I want to do is I will show you how I color the leaves. So again, I'm starting out with the chartreuse on the edges here. Then I'll go to apple green. Oops, and then Prussian green for the bottom. Now, as I color this, one thing I did not explain yet is the background with the blues. So this is actually a colored pencil background with my Prismas. It's about 5 or 6 different blues. And when I looked at a page like this, I wanted to reach for my Neo colors or Distress inks, but there's so many little spaces. I thought, gosh, I don't know that, I don't trust myself to be neat with that. And I think I felt like I'd be doing quite a bit of cleanup if I did something like that. So for me, I chose to, as my friend Phelan would say, from Phelan Colors, fall into the colored pencil background trap. So sometimes, like if you take a page like this page over here, it's easy. Like if you start out with colored pencil and then about a third of the way through, you're like, why though did I choose colored pencils? But over here, because it was so many little spaces, it didn't feel so cumbersome. And you can see I just sort of, this is like a powder blue, and I used aquas and I think electric blue and true blue, and just layered them in and added different sections to just sort of mix it up. Maybe the powder blue looks like clouds, maybe not. I don't know, but it's just sort of the mood I was in and what I went with. So, okay, all of that said, that's a strawberry. So why don't we color, I will show you how I color the flower. Let me go ahead and do that real quick. Let me see if I could, let me get my stuff and I'll be right back. Do you ever have a moment where you're looking for your coloring supplies and they are literally right in front of you and you're just looking everywhere else? So that is what just happened to me. So I'm sorry, but here I am, I'm back. So the flower I'm going to color from the inside out. The middle part, I'm just using canary yellow, and then the yellow we used on the bug, which is sunburst yellow. So I will just color the inside canary yellow. There's no shading or combos here, and that's just because it's kind of a tiny space, so I didn't bother with it. And then just the sunshine yellow and these little spots here. All right. Now for the leaf of the petals, that is, I'm using Process Red. And again, I'll put all these color combos in the description for you. So I'm going to start out with the Process Red and just kind of make like a U shape around the petal. Okay, so that's real easy, right? Just follow the shape of the petal. So what you're basically doing is just leaving like a little spot in the middle. And that's where we're going to add a highlight. So just following that along. And again, this is just sort of a light layer. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, before I do this little light part, I'm going to take pomegranate, which is again what we used on the edge of our strawberry, and I'm going to first add a little ring of pomegranate, as much as I can, around the center of the flower for a little shadow. And then I'm going to take it, and again, I hope that my hand is not getting in the way. I'm so sorry if it is. I'm going to sort of color it around the edge of these petals to add sort of this outline, like this darker outline. I know I'm coloring over the processed red, which might seem like, why did I even do the processed red? But I don't know. That's just sort of how I figured this out, and I like it. So I'm just kind of going with it. Sometimes Kim's brain is not a logical brain, as y'all have seen several times in my videos before. And thank you for helping straighten me out when I need it. Okay, so here, all right, let's, again, I'm just kind of going dark over these, making a dark outline over the edges here. And it's not perfect, but there you go, right? Okay, so next I've got processed red. I'm coming back with that. And I'm blending over that and blending farther into the center beyond where the pomegranate is. So it brings out, it looks sort of like a fuchsia kind of petal. So it's funny because when I started out with this, all the strawberry blossoms I've seen are white with bright yellow centers. So I started thinking, how can I color these to make them look white? And then before I headed down that rabbit hole, another picture caught my eye where some of the strawberry blossoms have really pretty bright fuchsia flowers, which I did not know. So I learned something new. So I thought, well, that's easier to color. I'm going to do that. So here we are. And now I'm using hot pink just for this little center part. So that's a little bit of a highlight, not a ton. Okay. And then I'll go back with the pomegranate to sort of clean up any edges, or I feel like maybe I lost the integrity of that dark outline. Okay, and then maybe on this one, add a little bit more processed red. So it's just sort of, it's a little bit of a formula, but again, you know, your mileage may vary, as they say. It just really, when you color, you don't have to color exactly like me. That's what I guess what I'm trying to say, and I'm not saying it very well. You will not be able to color exactly like me. Like I will not be able to color exactly like you. But I want you to do your best. These are just ideas. Try your best. And you know what? Your page looks amazing. I already know it does, and I haven't even seen it yet. And I know I love it because you did it and you made it your own, and that's what matters. So now in authentic Kim style, I'm going back over the black line art there to sort of preserve that. And we could even add a little bit more of the pomegranate here for a little more shadow. But there, yeah, there you go. So, okay, I hope that was helpful today. So this is sort of like a little mini color along where we talked about, let's see, we learned how to color a strawberry, the flowers. We talked about the leaves. Again, when I get to the gemstones and the butterflies, I might roll another color along for you. I will put the blues I used in the background also in the description. And like, I will probably do another tutorial on how to do a background like this just to help y'all out. But it literally was just layering blues all over the page. But I'll go ahead and add the pencils in there so you have it. And I think that's it for today. So again, I know this was a really short one, but I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you do try to color this page with these strawberries, I hope you'll tag me on social media and let me see. I'd love to see it. And I think that's it. Y'all have a great day, and I will see you next time.